I don't normally talk a lot about myself. I usually talk about being a female founder, or I talk about becoming a mom or my daughter, and I talk about other female entrepreneurs. So you guys might not know a lot about me. But tonight I'm going to do something a little bit different, which is why I have paper in case I forget. I want to tell you a little bit about where I come from. I was born and raised in Costa Rica, and I didn't move to America until 13 years ago. I moved here with a full scholarship to Harvard Business School, which was life-changing. No applause. And I fought for my citizenship status for 13 years. And the reason that I don't sound Latin is because I was bullied when I was a kid. I remember going to Florida for the first time when I was 8 years old, going on a cruise. My mom is sitting here. She came from Costa Rica. Where are you? Do you remember? So we went on this day-long cruise where I met some kids, and I couldn't speak in English, and they made fun of me. And so I practiced in the mirror, and I practiced with movies until I got rid of my accent, and I sounded just like them, so I could blend in better. My skin is white because I am the granddaughter of Holocaust refugees who escaped Poland and came to Ellis Island and were not allowed in because the borders were closed, kind of like today. So they got back in the boat and they kept sailing south, and Costa Rica welcomed them. And that's how I ended up growing up in Costa Rica. I still consider it my home. I miss it dearly. And, part of what that means is that I come from a completely different cultural context than all of you do. And I've had to learn a lot in the past 10 years to really feel like I belong here. And I screw up a lot because I just come from somewhere different. I grew up in a very conservative, socially conservative Jewish community inside a very socially conservative Catholic country, where to this day, it's so conservative that IVF is illegal. Like, forget abortion, IVF. And I honestly, the first time I met an openly gay person, I was 20 years old and in college. They just didn't come out. It was not part of the conversation. And gender was something that you just kind of took for granted, right? Like, the sky is blue, and there's boys and girls. And I think in the past couple of years, I have learned, and I bet that a lot of you have learned for the first time, that actually there's a lot in between boys and girls. And we just didn't know that, right? We just didn't know that, and that's okay, right? Like, we're learning. That's why we had those gender pronouns made today. And I thought, holy crap, thank you. This is the point though. If something as fundamental as gender, something that my whole life I thought was a given, that there's boys and there's girls and nothing in between, if I was wrong about that, what the hell am I wrong about? Just imagine all of those constructs in your brain that you think are binaries, and rethink them, because they're not. Good and bad is not binary. We are all imperfect in some way. They're two extremes of a single range. Your political belief is not binary. It's only binary if you boil it down to a single issue, but the world is complicated. Privilege is not binary. It is multidimensional. It's a giant range, and some of us have more than others. And if you're sitting in this room, you have loads of privilege. Somebody brought you here, or you brought yourself here, so remember that. And you know what else? Allyship. Allyship, championship. They're not binaries. The world, as much as you might believe, is not made up of allies and assholes. Most of us are in the imperfect, messy middle. All of us are in the imperfect, messy middle. And the thing about binaries is that they're simple, and we live in the age of social media where simple is powerful. I know this, I'm a communicator. It is much easier to get those clicks if you're angry and take a single point of view in 120 characters. Simple is memorable. Simple is easy to understand, easy to explain, easy to use. But the world is not simple, the world is complicated. And the only true binary that I see today is between people who live in the extremes and the rest of us who are comfortable with the discomfort of being in the messy middle. Those who will only understand others like themselves, and those who are willing to listen to each other. Those who are out for themselves, and those who are out to support other people. Those that want to divide us, and those that want to unite us. And unfortunately, I think that today, it's a world of divisiveness and a world of anger. And I think that social media is fueling that. But I don't want to live in that world. And I don't want my daughters to live in that world. And so I'm making a better one. I'm making a world where we can all be each other's allies, because tonight I stand in this beautiful room, thank you Pacific Science Center, filled with beautiful people, with giant, beautiful dreams. And for so many of us, those dreams don't come true because we don't have the same opportunities, or we don't have the same access, or because we're actively oppressed, or because we're unseen, because of our gender, or our sex, or the color of our skin, or who we love, or the country we were born in and our citizenship status, or our religion, our physical ability, or because we're 37 weeks pregnant and people question our commitment. But not you, Tim. To everybody who's in the room today, I want you all to be a champion, and I want you to know that championship doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be intentional, and it has to be a little bit better. Don't be afraid of trying a little harder, and you might find yourself on this stage next year. You never know. We need all the help we can get, and we need to help each other. And to the rest of us, those with the dreams, those who are unseen, those who have been hearing that us versus them language for so long and been told that we don't have power, that we are less than, some more than others, I just want to say that you do have power. I have seen it. You have power, and you can use it. There is power in being beaten down. There is power in not having anything. There is power in not being seen. Because when you're beaten down, you learn how to get back up. And when you have nothing, you have nothing to lose. And when you're unseen, then nobody sees you coming. Except for me. Because I am watching you, and I can't wait to see the world that you are going to build for my 2 daughters and for all of our kids. So thank you for being here tonight. I will see you all next year on stage. Thank you.